Hello everyone, it is the 8th of January 2025. Recently I posted two videos about the economic circumstances and why we cannot expect these circumstances to improve for at least 8-10 years significantly. Then we can see some sort of improvement, but not until 2033. Unfortunately, the reasons are simple. Those voting groups which belong to the great generation who were born after the Second World War are still with us, and they are quite a large cohort in society, and they are the ones who are responsible for neoliberal reforms in the 1980s, which practically introduced more and more flexible labor market regulations. Now, those are the main causes of economic miseries. And also recently I posted more about the mystery UAP drone phenomena in the United States and maybe elsewhere in the world too. And my last video about Michael Salla's theory and what I described there about the behavior of these suspected or assumed benevolent extraterrestrials, it made me think through whether the economic miseries and these phenomena are somehow related. And yeah, I'm gonna share my thoughts with you in this clip. So shortly about the economic miseries. According to macroeconomic figures, the situation is not bad. The United States and other countries in the world has economic growth, and unemployment is not high, 3 to 5%. It sounds low, no? Well, let's go and dive a bit deeper into these figures. Well, I already mentioned that the income distribution in these societies are very unequal, and practically those on the top of the society, the most wealthiest people, they can increase their wealth and they are increasing their income year by year, but the vast majority of the society cannot. What's more, I am familiar closely with the New Zealand data, but these data are similar in other Western European and Anglo-Saxon countries as well. They relate to unemployment. Roughly, New Zealand has 4% unemployment, which is official. Roughly 4%, 4.2, 4.3, whatever. Nevertheless, this proportion includes only those people who do not have any type of job, and they have to rely solely on social welfare. Those people who are not capable of working are not considered into this group. That's one thing. Another thing, there is another statistical figure which is called underemployment. This includes both the unemployed people and both those people who have a job but they don't have enough hours and they want to have more work, more income for their lives. They typically work in flexible working conditions and they struggle every day to get enough hours to sustain their lives. Well, this figure is roughly 11.3% in New Zealand. Now this one is significant because this already shows that 11% of the working age population is not happy with their circumstances. But we should go a bit even further. Now, this is where it becomes messy, because most of the statistical figures have an inherent contradiction. For example, in New Zealand, there are publications, there are data about how many hours people work in a week. And there is another figure which shows how many hours are actually paid. Now, just roughly the numbers. In New Zealand, every week, it is about 90 to 94 million hours what people work. And only 70 to 73 million of those hours are actually paid. Now, how is it even possible? Well, the simple explanation is that the 95 million hours include those hours too that are paid not on hourly basis but on some other pro rata basis. For example, Uber drivers, they don't get hourly wage, no, they just get the fare payments, the fare fees. Or pizza delivery drivers, they don't get hourly rates either. They are paid how many deliveries they perform in a day or in a week. And all of a sudden we kind of says that yes, they don't earn the minimum wage either. Now, if we put these numbers into perspectives and calculate the implied unemployment according to these hours, we end up saying that if we use the 90 to 95 million weekly worked hours, we get to a point where we see that if we assume that all the 3,150,000 people who are in the workforce were employed in full-time permanent jobs, and compare this number to this 93-95 million a week, we would end up saying that it is roughly 25-26% unemployment, because 3,150,000 people would need more than 120 million worked hours a week if they want to work in 40 hours. Now, this 25-26% is already huge. So the capacity, the possibilities to work are actually immensely low. It gets even worse if we count those hours which are paid. 70 to 73 million hours paid would imply 37-39% potential unemployment. Well, the other figure is better, how many hours people work. Unfortunately, these people work more hours than what they are paid for, in terms of they don't earn the minimum wage. But anyway, coming back to the main point, 25 or 30 million working hours needs to be provided for the working age population, and it is just not there. It is just New Zealand, but the situation is quite similar in other Western and Anglo-Saxon countries as well. Now, this is economic misery. And when we hear about automation and artificial intelligence might take over even more work, the news are actually catastrophic for the population. And there is no good news. It is a depressing situation indeed, depressing. There is another aspect in terms of political preference, and it is a worldwide phenomenon. Center left and center right parties, their combined support has been decreasing, and people don't find the good alternatives. The liberal agenda combined with the woke ideologies entrapped itself, and they attempted to be good persons, but with the woke ideology, they actually became. uh, I shouldn't even say. They became racist when fighting racism. It's just crazy. So people don't prefer them. To escape woke ideology, people turned in also in New Zealand to right-wing parties, but these parties attempt to continue to establish smaller states, less state services. Trump's plan include these measures. In New Zealand, we see the same, and it is also a dead end because it's not gonna create more jobs for those people in need. But people still have hope with them, fair enough. But altogether, the situation is depressing. Now, when the worldwide situation is so depressing as this, we should not be surprised that people are expecting some sort of messiah to resolve these issues. And maybe this religious kind of expectation fuels those sightings. We may deceive ourselves as well. Right, I admit, mainstream media is not discussing all those troubling news which are coming from various alternate channels. For example, Homesteading Off the Grid, I can recommend his channel, Kevin. He provides direct off-the-ground news from people who send emails to him. Actually, I am in shock. I told you already that in New Jersey the water was smelling like chemicals. In Maine, before Christmas, there was grayish, brownish snow falling, and when anyone touched the snow, it was irritating the skin, so it was probably toxic as well. And around Christmas, there has been a huge fog, and the fog must have included some sort of chemicals which poisoned pets and livestock. It's just the possibility is that mass casualty events are unfolding right in front of our eyes, and we don't even hear about it in the news media. And when I analyzed these UFO experts' theories, Michael Salla was the last one, I realized that those UFOs which show up recently, Nordic looking ones, they actually behave as if they lived in a totalitarian society, because they are scanning us without our approval. They don't show themselves, they just appear all of a sudden, but they don't talk to us. They show up, but they never say what their intentions are. It feels as if we were prisoners on planet Earth. And last weekend I could hear a fantastic interview with Jason Giorgiani. Ashton Forbes made the interview. It's on his channel on YouTube. It's worth watching. Jason Giorgiani explained, I am not familiar with the whole argument, why it is so, but Giorgiani explained that these anti-gravity crafts need pilots, and these pilots must have very strong psychic abilities. They have to be familiar with telepathy and clairvoyance, and otherwise the anti-gravity travels might disturb their sense of time. And these sorts of people can be raised in extremely different societies. Either they are fully altruistic and selfless, or they live in a totalitarian society. Now it seems the second option is appearing in front of us. And I could see videos on X, Twitter, where a woman in her despair was telling that she was 120% on alien side because humanity let us down, and now we want something else. We just want out. Yeah, it's okay to wish for something better, but it seems these aliens, yeah, they showed up. Credit for that, but they are not what we hope for. Nope. And it's better if we don't see them. And this kind of religious beliefs did appear throughout history, and hopes. In 1917, during the First World War, we had the Fatima revelations, and they may deceive us, they may give us hope, but altogether they are elusive, they are not tangible. And that's my fear with these UFO sightings. Our own fears and wishes practically might create these visions and sightings, and we might just deceive and manipulate ourselves into a false belief. Oh, by the way, in Hungary, my home country, it seems as if these kind of wishes and hopes actually manifest in the political life, because last February, when the Republican president, had to resign after a scandal, and also the Minister of Justice had to resign. Two women, they had to resign because of a scandalous pardon. A pedophile, a helper of a pedophile, got pardoned by the president. First, the Minister of Justice didn't approve the proposal. Then after the president approved it, she had to sign it off as well. And because they both signed it off, they had to resign. And the former husband of the Minister of Justice, who was supporting the Fidesz, the right-wing dictatorial regime all along, jumped out, exited. They had juicy stories about what was going on inside, and this sort of scandalous, rebellious attitude resonated with the public. And this guy didn't develop any Peter Magyar. His name actually means Hungarian, his family name, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is he has not developed any good political plan how to improve the country's situation. No, he didn't. And actually his behavior, attitude is all familiar with the right-wing government party, Fidesz. But because people want change and they got disappointed with the former opposition parties, they want change regardless of the consequences. They hope that this guy would defeat Orban in election. And the tragedy in all this is this guy showed up last year, and the scheduled election is in April 2026. And the time so far was short, so people would get disappointed with him. And until the next year's election, the time is still short. So people will not expect a thorough, solid, grounded political plan how to pull out Hungary out of the misery they are in. And I think the Hungarian population will face it the hard way. This guy, Peter Magyar, will win the election next year. And then, yeah, that's when Hungary will face the consequences. In this situation, this small case actually shows what the world will face in its hope with the aliens or extraterrestrials, UFOs, UAPs, whatever. No, it's gonna be something disappointing, and the solid and grounded improvement in policies will arrive after we go through this disappointing period. But to get there, social scientists, including me, have huge responsibility to address the issues and indeed develop these convincing and strongly grounded policies. Hopefully we find these people. Have a good day.